just see if I can share it as well on that side.
So, we are live. We are very excited. I think to speak today with one of the most amazing South African wedding photographers who has a little bit a different journey. That's why maybe also his eye for photography for weddings is different. So we welcome Daniel West from Daniel West Photography to our piece of the puzzle.
Award-winning photographer and an amazing guy, looking like Leonardo DiCaprio. I just said when I actually saw you, so lockdown actually was good for you. So I can just tell you.
Yeah. So it looks like Leonardo my mom said between James Dean and Leonardo DiCaprio. He can take amazing pictures. He has a sense for music. And he, I don't know, has maybe sleepless nights because of his newborn baby. We don't know. It doesn't show too much yet. So, Daniel, talk to us a little bit about your journey. Like, how did you get into photography? And I know you did not start with wedding photography. So, what did you do, and what is your background, and why photography of all the things maybe you could have done?
Excellent. Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for having me here. It's really a big honor. We love your work, and it's just amazing. Like, just be able to connect to people again. It feels good.
Thank you.
But yeah, as for the look, it kind of changed during lockdown. I think everybody has their lockdown look at this stage. Most of all because of the makeup artist and the hairstylist can't do their work, unfortunately.
Yeah.
There's ways. I just haven't used it yet. I really need to.
Yeah, it's no problem.
Like
we also try to look as best as possible.
You don't see our gray hair, so this is actually like no problem.
Absolutely. But yeah, basically I've studied engineering in Stellenbosch, South Africa, well, down there in Cape Town. It was really, very good. I loved the experience and everything, but I just found that it wasn't for me. The whole mathematics and just sitting behind I'm still sitting behind a computer, but in terms of just it was not my location. So what happened was I needed to get an income, and for that reason I moved down, well, about 50 kilometers or 70 kilometers away to Cape Town, the center city. Okay. And I was working as a photographic assistant. It was a very easy job. It was not a lot of paying, but it helped getting me into the industry in a sense. But I didn't know at that time that is the location, well, the direction that I wanted to do. How it happened was then I started working for a lot of different photographers, Justin Polke, Antonia Stain, James Stack, etc., etc. Very big commercial fashion photographers. And I just fell in love with the craft from there. And I decided, okay, listen, how am I going to get, how do I get a little bit further than this? Because I don't want to be an assistant all my life. But I've learned a lot from them, especially how to treat clients, how to work with models, how to style, look at things a little bit differently, etc. So that was basically the basis for it. Then my mom and dad kind of forced me into getting a degree since I don't have the...
how moms and dad working.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, they just want the best. But we hear this quite often, actually, that the parents actually like force them to do a real job or do something like with their life before like the
something
people
serious.
actually follow their passion.
Absolutely, yeah. So it was a lot of push from the parents, which I'm very grateful for, because if they hadn't pushed me, I would still probably do something else, or I don't know. Well, it's a little bit different. Well, probably a different field or something. I don't know. But anyways, what happened was then I went to Pretoria. I've enrolled with the Open Window, where it's a creative college, which you can do design, photography, film, web design, etc., etc. So the first year you get the whole basis of doing everything creative, and then the second year you start specializing, and the third year and the fourth year, if you want to do an honors, you really specialize in your field. So I was specializing at that time in film and photography. It was my major and minor. And it just kind of it stuck with me. And while I was doing that, I was still doing a little bit of commercial photography on the side. After which I've graduated with a degree with BA Visual Communication. I went in and worked as a an assistant, but this time for the film industry, to see how that was going. I loved it. The weird thing that kind of got me to me was the hours. Literally, I would wake up 4 o'clock in the morning, go to set, and then at half day I'll find myself driving to Namibia or somewhere like that. It was fun. It was exhilarating, but it was a lot of traveling and put a lot of strain onto my relationship with my wife, obviously, because she never saw me.
Not relationship and not family friendly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I loved it. I really, really miss it still. But it was very, very much fun. And then I kind of went back, took a step back then again, and I started working as a full-time photographer for a couple of companies, doing freelance in the beginning, doing a lot of fashion shoots and product shoots. And then kind of went into the whole, did that for about 5 or 6 years or so, just doing that. And then I started doing exclusive photography for Jenna Clifford, which was about a 3-year journey, which was fantastic. I've learned a lot, especially from her. She's just a fantastic woman, very much powering, and she's got a lot of wisdom. I think that kind of inspired me to kind of go into what I love the most, and that was weddings, because I thought at that time weddings was just a little side hustle. Just getting 1 or 2 weddings, it pays for a little pizza in the evening.
And, a big pizza already, like then you get a big pizza out.
Absolutely. And so yeah, she kind of really inspired me to pursue what I love, because I fell in love with weddings, because weddings kind of it's everything. It's from fashion to product to detail, especially the decor and the rings, etc. So you've got the whole range of photography inside a wedding,
and lots of emotions, I think, also.
Yeah, and it's a lot of emotions and moments and everything. So it just kind of stole my heart in a sense. And yeah, that's where I'm finding myself now.
Do you think, I mean, actually, I just spoke to someone today, but do you think everyone that goes maybe first into commercial can also be a wedding photographer? Or do you think now, out of like experience, like do you think the one maybe is more difficult than the other? Because I mean, in commercial still, I personally think, and I have, like, I'm not an expert at all, but you have more time in the sense of you can really prep your things, you can do the flat lay, whatever, like you have maybe more than one shot. But for a wedding, you have the emotions right there, you know? So when the bride and the groom say yes and they kiss each other, there's no second chance. Like there's really like an ad hoc that you need to capture. And it's quite a big pressure because you only have this one shot, you know? So this one time. Or when we also did the wedding, like there was a flying whale. So it was just one time you could like capture this moment. So the pressure is really like very high, like what I think. But maybe you have a different idea.
To be honest with you, I think each genre has its own positives and negatives to it. But definitely, I feel that if you want to be a good photographer, you need to kind of expand your knowledge with different genres, because I mean there would be a time in, for instance, wedding photography where you will need to use flash, where if you only shoot on natural light and you need to use flash all of a sudden, how do you approach that? So I think it's very good to have that backup of having a little bit of experience with everything and then kind of zoom in on that. But to be honest with you, to go back to your question, I don't think that if you're a commercial photographer that you can't do a good job as a wedding photographer, or vice versa. If you're a wedding photographer, you can't do good in a commercial environment. It really depends on the projects that you have as a commercial photographer, because sometimes you do have the art director and the director and the assistants, obviously. They do, each person in that, much like wedding photography, but each one in the commercial realm has their own genre, well, not genre, they have their own ability that they need to do, and they need to do. Because I mean, with commercial photography, you'd still have that timeline of, okay, we need 5 or 50 different shots, and we've only got half a day to shoot it, or a full day. So the pressure is on in commercial photography. But likewise, you can always go back if you have the budget and the client has the budget to go and reshoot it if you really, really, really need it to. Whereas weddings, it's one shot, one time. It's a lot of pressure. I think for me, it's relaxing in a sense, to be honest with you, because I know that you won't be able to capture every single thing. So you need to kind of decide, okay, listen, this is the most important. This is not. This is going to tell the story. It's more story based, telling the story from beginning to end, and that's my approach for it. But the pressure is on, and some people can't hack it, so they rather go to commercial, and some people can't hack that, so they go to weddings. So each one has their own genre, I think, and own pressure, which is quite interesting. But it's nice to have both sides.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Like, I have just one more question, because we have worked together in different ways. So we have done style shoots. We have done one of the most beautiful wedding that you captured, actually, with this flying whale, what Alfie said. Is there like a thumb number of like how many photographer you should have according to how many guests on a wedding?
No, not at all. I think where it comes in, because 95% of the weddings that I do, I shoot on my own. I don't have second shooters. So if we do need to get second shooters, I get professional photographers who's very good friends of mine, and they come shoot it for me, well, with me as a team. But to be honest with you, the relationship between the number of people in the wedding does not determine how many photographers you need to have. I think what determines how many photographers to be on the day is the timeline, number one, and the progressions of what is important and not, where the groom is getting ready, where the bride is getting ready, how much detail needs to be shot, how important is the guest. You know, different aspects of the wedding will determine we'll need 3 or 4 or 5 photographers, or even 2. You know, it really depends on that. So
distance, I think, is also a big like plays a big role. Like, how far are things from each other, like what is happening on the day.
Absolutely, yeah. So I mean, like, if you're going to shoot a wedding alone, you're just one person to go from one point to another. So there's a little bit of timeline. If the timeline doesn't allow that, it's going to be difficult. So rather get somebody to photograph the groom and somebody to photograph. But the way that we approached that particular wedding was the details were just amazing, and we needed to get that photographed, and also. And there was a lot of logistics that needed to be photographed. So for that reason, I think we were 3 photographers. Brilliant.
Yes. Because also the location itself was very, like the distances within that one location were quite far. Like there was like almost like 3 places for this wedding. Yeah.
Just imagine running bride to groom to details to it with.
Yeah. Is there somewhere in your mind something that you say, wow, if this would come up for you as a photographer, not as a photographer, that would be the best challenge you expect, and you would do for that thing, like what you dream of, like when people have a bucket traveling or something like that, you know? Is there something like for a photographer to say, wow, that would be something I really want to do?
I mean, we must just really say everyone must like Google Daniel West. I mean, you have won, like, I don't know, maybe if you can count them, but I would say like countless awards and like a lot of like things that you have won over the years now, doing your photography. So so there is obviously a lot that you have done already, and there is no question that whatever you like have in front of your lens will be in the perfect spotlight.
Yeah, his eyes are lenses. Actually, I see it like that, because your eyes are not eyes, your eyes are lenses. When I see this little boy that was sleeping in the church, or where was that, actually that was one of your most favorite photos. I think that is like how you capture things, you know, you have your eyes on special spots.
Yeah, so maybe there's a country, maybe there's a job, like in terms of a brand, maybe there is, I don't know, what is it?
Vodka in Iceland, or I don't know what.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody has the dream that they need to kind of go on. But the awards, just quickly back on that, it's it's to boost my ego or anything like that. It's literally for myself to show the clients that they're getting something that is really special. So it's just a little bit marketing in a sense. But I love to enter. It really pushes me to to be the best that I can be, which is quite awesome. But apart from that, I mean, I think every photographer, every creative, to be honest, has their goals that they want to reach. So I think for me, it's still a long way to go. There's still a lot of things that I want to do and a lot of places that I want to be, and I really, really, really want to inspire others to be the best that they can be, obviously. But I would say if I could do a wedding, you've actually done a wedding like this, I think with Rodolfo Custa, if I'm not mistaken. That was shot in I can't.
In Lapland. In
Yeah.
Lapland, yeah.
In ice
You-
chapel.
Yes.
Wedding, oh, like every time I see the pictures, I get like goosebumps. Like, oh, must do.
Yeah. But you
See-
must really love the cold. I can tell you that was not fun at all. It was minus 35 degrees, and I wished at a couple of moments I
We were
would
in South
not
Africa.
actually. That was, yeah. You.
It was
I
quite,
was, yeah.
quite
I
cold.
still, but
was
honestly, like
amazing.
it was amazing, and one jokes about that, you know, like this is really, really a dream, and I could not even imagine that when I heard it, that it was really us. They approached, and I said, wow, this is just like, this is without words, you know, like.
And the couple, I mean, is also like the couple itself. I mean, they were in Dubai, so they were used to plus 50 degrees, you
Yeah.
know, and they chose like out of like every country on this planet, they chose Finland, like which is one of the most coldest countries on this planet, to be like their wedding destination. So that was quite amazing.
Yeah.
But tell me right now, I think a lot of people that follow you admire your work, and maybe even like how you did it. They maybe like ask you, can they like do like an internship or do like be a second shooter for you or something? But I know you do online workshops, right? So you try to maybe teach people a little bit or share your knowledge like through online courses.
But wait a second. I just want to say, whenever we go to Finland again, we take you with us.
Yes.
And Ellie from the cakes, she was also just like, she made this incredible cake for this Cape Town wedding where what we were talking, and she says, I think
yeah, it's on her bucket list.
yeah,
too.
it's on her bucket list. So she's coming with us, makes an ice
with
cake.
a cake.
Yeah.
Here we go. That would be
Yeah,
awesome.
here we go.
Yeah. So we have more Lapland fans here.
Yeah, and Andre, maybe Andre, how are you, Andre? I mean, just like people coming in now, I just see it. Andre is one of our actually really good and very specific florists in the country. He is Dutch, and he has actually a very special style, right? So
Yes.
people can actually also reach out to him.
But I was asking about like online workshops, because right now, I mean, during this pandemic, obviously everyone knows that nothing in terms of event is happening right now, but maybe it's the right time for a lot of people to brush up on their skills, or to like reach out and say, you know what, I'm trying to make the most of the time that I have on hand. And I mean, I think the thing that we all always craved for and wanted is time. Now we maybe have a little bit too much on our hands right now, but I think a lot of people still like maybe want to make the most of what they have. So tell us a little bit about your workshops and how you maybe find online workshops, or if you feel, well, you can actually really pass on the same knowledge online as maybe in a one-to-one workshop, or on a, like, if you're together, like how is the feeling?
Absolutely. I mean, since the lockdown, we needed to be very creative in terms of marketing yourself, etc. So it was difficult to adjust again, because the workshops that I normally do is a one-on-one, having that interaction with the people and actually seeing how they work, what they do, etc., then we can help nourish them. Because the workshops that I do is not to be another Daniel West. It's literally to be the best that they can be, rather focusing on their skills and upping their skills up and that. So it was a little bit challenging in the beginning to do it, but I do offer online courses currently, courses, master classes, workshops, etc. Whereas we've got an hour for example, one of them is an hour, and we talk literally about anything they have on their art. Like if they want to ask me a lot of questions, then we do the questions. If they want to up on their Lightroom skills, editing skills, we do that. Other workshops that I currently have is a 3-month workshop that we do, like meeting once a week, that we meet, except, well, on a Monday or Tuesday or Friday. And then we go through a course, like working on your brand, working on your style, finding a niche, talking about prices, how to collaborate, etc., etc. So that course, unfortunately, has come down slightly with pricing. Well, fortunately, because of the elements that I can't teach through the web.
Online.
So on how to use physically, taking that light, putting the light there, and shooting it like that. Hopefully it will change with lockdown number 3 in level 3, because now we can go shoot again. So we'll based on that. It's still very new, but there are a few people that is currently that has signed up with me, and I'm seeing a lot of progress in their work and everything. And some of them are still new, some of them are quite far, but I've seen a lot of progress once they've started and where they are now. So it's I hope it's working. To be honest.
So do you only do this for already like professional people, like they are professional working, or do you also do like courses for beginners?
For beginners as well. Look, it really depends on the level, because as I mentioned, I'm not trying to make another Daniel West. I'm trying to make another whoever they are, to enhance them. So it really depends on if they haven't even touched a camera and they're very interested in it. I'm willing to take that time and learn them the basics from taking your camera, using it, and going on until there. And then there's other photographers who's quite advanced, already has their business in motion, but they're still on a little bit of there's specific areas in their business that they really want to enhance, and that's what we focus on. So it really depends on.
I think I have to book 1 hour with you. I haven't learned in 20 years how to take night shots. No, it just does not work. Like I can't deal with that. So then I just leave it.
No, definitely.
For you. And I think we have maybe some other people here as well that just needed like generally. But
I need to sign up. Yeah, Ellie. Like Ellie, we can share that 1 hour. Maybe like we can afford it then. Maybe.
We'll definitely be able to.
But tell us, like you said, and I think this is also like very important for a lot of people maybe that are starting out. And photography, you know, I think on the one hand side, it sounds so easy, but on the other hand, it's really a very demanding job. Like, I mean, there are gazillions of photographers out there, and obviously everyone has a complete different level. But I think your work has also been shaped and formed by the way when you said you have like shadow photographed, or you have been like with people and you have just seen what they do, and you learned, and you could just like get the knowledge from like your very early years, where you were not like Daniel West photography, where you maybe were like a second shooter for someone, or where you just like were maybe commissioned for a job, but where you were not out there as a brand. Tell maybe people like some recommendations, if there are even, because maybe it is individually like different for everyone, but would you recommend like something like that you say, you know what, take small steps, try to learn as much as you can from like professionals out there, or people who have really a very good profile, and then go out or go all in and like put yourself out there and then just see what the feedback is? Like, is there a way? Because I mean, I think for photography it's much like stationery or something. There is no guidebook really, you know. There's no guidance where people can say this is like what you should do. Like maybe there are some courses like you offer, or maybe some like other places, but how is the journey usually for a photographer?
To be honest, yeah, it's think of it this way. I mean, if you've graduated from high school, you had to go through preschool, a low school, high school, and then you're graduated, but you don't know all the knowledge from there. So you need to take that steps. It's baby steps from the beginning, playing with clay, you know, that type of thing, and obviously enhancing your skills. You need to look at photography exactly the same. You need to start somewhere in order to be somewhere, but to start somewhere without a goal in mind, it's just going from grade A to grade B.
Yes.
It's not really progress. But if you have a goal in mind, okay, listen, I want to finish high school, for example, there's a whole array of ways that you need to go to get there. And once you get there, you realize, okay, I'm now established. It's amazing. But now university, etc. So it's life lesson. You need to start from small, take baby steps, and build and build and build and build. Because the thing about photography is it grows with you as a person as well. I mean, I didn't even think that I'm going to do newborns, and here I am with my own little baby, and I love to do it. I won't do it yet for clients, but I found a way that I like to shoot. Whereas a year ago, I wouldn't have even dreamed of shooting newborn. So it is a progression of where you are in your life to be where you go, obviously. But if I can give advice for new photographers, is to actually go learn from other photographers who's already established, and then take from them, not copy them, but take from them to enhance yourself. And that's what you're going to learn, because I mean, somebody's going to do a lot of things way differently than I am doing, but he or she might be getting a better result from it for their specific need, whereas I'm going to do it for mine. So it's very personal journey at the end of the day. But I would definitely recommend start small, take baby steps, build a brand, and always have a goal in mind. Once you reach that goal, do a new goal, and then from there you'll be able to grow as a photographer. I mean, still very, very young in what I want to achieve, and I've got my goals in mind. I have them written down and everything, but it's going to be a lot different than somebody that has been. The goals is going to be a lot different than somebody that's currently starting out. But yeah, once you reach that goal, you go, and then that's the only way that you're going to progress. So it's awesome.
But I think it's also important what you said, don't copy someone, be yourself. And I think this is also very important to let people know, because I mean, we are working with couples, and we like get to know the couples, and according to who they are and what they like, we recommend most suitable like photographer or service provider in general, and not only photographer, because some of the like couples might maybe rather want black and white, more like sophisticated, or more brighter colors, or more natural, or there's different styles, and everyone has its own like niche in the market. And I think couples, they decide for what they want to go. So if everybody would be the same, that would actually be terrible. Yeah, that would be terrible, because nobody could choose actually anymore. I think this is very much important, to be yourself, and to, it's the same like with in floristry. Like there's very well-known floral designer. They teach techniques, you know, and even if you do not like maybe what their style look like, but the technique they are using, you can use for your own style. And I think this is what the important message is for people. Use the knowledge that you get for like improving or for building up your own style.
Definitely, yeah. Something that I've learned from quite a few mentors of mine. I still have mentors, so they are still learning as we go. But the main thing is, once you start competing with yourself, there's nobody else that you can compete with. So once you start copying others, unfortunately, then you're gonna compete on price and not on your craft. So if you focus,
and I think, sorry, I think the most important thing that you also said, it's art and creative, you know. So like these are the two, like I think main important like things that people need to understand, that someone who is creative needs to be very individual, because it's an art, and art is very like unique, subjective. It's like it's not something objective, you know. So it's not, everyone might not like, I mean, even like our style, you know, like as wedding like designers, or as floral designers, but that is like the right reason, because there is like so many different ones to choose from. And I think we all like should not compete with each other. We must really like stay in our lane, and like just focus on the way how we do things. This is the way how we attract also the right customers. And I think that works for every creative, whether you are in the fashion industry, whether you are in photography, in floral design, in any really creative business, you must just stay true to yourself. And I think specifically,
not always easy.
No, but I think specifically also for photography and wedding photography, you must be a personality, because you will be so close to one of the most, beautiful, but also like one of the most stressful days in a couple's lives.
Right.
The most intimate moment.
In the most, yes, in the most like special moments that will never come back in people's lives. And I think, I'm sure as a photographer, you have seen positive, negative tears. You have seen people, filled, overjoyed, stressed, like everything, like the full range, And if you as a personality are not selling yourself as a person, maybe even before you're selling your craft, then it's going to be difficult.
Absolutely. Even before getting to the wedding itself, I meet with each and every client. I do have those clients that we've never met before, but it's on a rare occasion, because the reason why I want to meet them beforehand is just to see if we gel. If our personalities are actually good. Because if your personalities gel, then I can work the way that I work, being a fly on the wall, for example, not interfering on the day, just photographing out as it is, and then giving a little bit of guidance here and there, like the posing and everything. But most of the time, it's just literally being fly on the wall. And if they are constantly, okay, listen, Daniel, do this, I'm going to get irritated. To be honest with you, I'm going to do the job very good, but it's still that tension that's going to build up. So I feel that your personalities, and you need to sell your personality through your work. Obviously, as you've mentioned, it's very, very important. On another thing, I've actually got a nice article from Statistics South Africa. It's quite interesting. There was 135,458 civil marriages in 2017. So that's almost 140,000. Yay! But that's a lot of weddings during one year. Imagine.
Yeah.
So there's enough.
Yes. So there's a big cake.
Yeah. Which is awesome. So it's an opportunity for everybody on every level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually have another question which came up. We had a chat with another photographer a little while ago, and she came from outside. She is South African. She came from outside back to South Africa, and she was a bit like irritated on the way how, in a certain way, business is done between photographer and wedding planner. I want to hear maybe your opinion or your experience, because she said she was not used to give referral commissions to wedding planner. So she worked in the way how we also see this, that you as a photographer have to fit to a client, and not because you pay us a commission. That's why we refer you. What is your experience on that over the years, or what is your opinion on that?
To be honest with you, the wedding planners that I've worked with was absolutely amazing and everything, but I've never really paid a commission for them as yet. I'm not sure if it's a new thing that's coming in. I've heard some event planners that has been doing that for the referrals and everything, but I feel it closes down the market once you do that, because now you're sitting with a 10,000 Rand photographer and a 40,000 Rand photographer. The wedding planner is going to get a little bit more commission from the 40, so they're trying to push that photographer more.
Mm-hmm.
Well, unfortunately, some of them do that, I think. But at the end of the day, they make a lot of more money. It's not to say that that photographer or that creative is going to be the best suited for that.
Exactly.
So you feel her in a sense that I feel that you're closing the market down, which is unfair towards the bride and the groom, because they don't have any free will from it. Whereas if a planner were to give 5 photographers, for example, 5 creatives for them, the bride has their own option of choosing the best suitable for them then.
Yes.
On the market like that, in terms of trying to get the highest photographer to go, it's very unfair towards the bride, not towards the industry, also towards the industry, but it's more towards the bride at the end of the day, because it's her photographs that she's going to cherish. It is a paycheck, unfortunately, but it's, yeah, I feel it's very unfair towards the bride and groom if they go that route.
No, same like us. And at that point, I just wanted to like point out something that I don't want to forget. That's why maybe it fits completely right into here. I wanted to say you have done something that we have never ever experienced, and we want to say huge thank you. And you have referred us a wonderful wedding without that we paid you anything like additionally. So you came to us and you said you think we would be suitable for this particular couple because choosing you as first supplier, service provider, and they were still looking for a planner. And we have been so thankful, and all together, I think we hope you agree. We have actually executed a wonderful wedding. You captured it in the most beautiful way together with two other photographers, with Rodolfo Custo and with Linda Voss. And I wanted to say, this is something that we hope will in the future be an example for people in our industry, that we can work together without like fear for each other, without necessarily have to pay for a referral or with whatever is involved, like clicks or whatsoever. I think this is so extraordinary for us how you actually have done this, that will ever stay actually for us as a very big example for cooperation and for friendly collaboration in our industry.
Absolutely. My pleasure. But yeah, there was no other florist or wedding planner that could have pulled off that wedding the way that it was pulled off. So I think the bride and groom was also very happy with the choice. And the end of the time, I refer people to do the job, but it's the end that I feel that the bride and the groom needs to make the final choice if they are suitable. It's exactly that gel. I mean, I can refer people, that's amazing, but if the bride and groom doesn't feel the vibe, it's not going to work, unfortunately. But at least from my side, I've given them the option of choosing the best that I think would be suitable. So yeah, no, it's.
And I think that goes like at least for us as planners, it goes exactly this like further down the line. You know, you will never ever like give just only one choice to your couple. You will give them a choice of 2 or 3. Because you want to show them like different styles or like different like things that would fit. I mean, if there's only one person in the world that can pull off like what they have in mind, then obviously that is only one. But particularly with, I mean, like flowers, you will most probably also have like different flowers on your wedding, you know? So this is like, you will never ever show them only one flower that they can choose from. So you say, okay, fine. If your style is like this, we can offer you this. If your style is like this, then these people would be more suitable. And I think this is fair towards the couple to decide, because by the end of the day, it's not our wedding, you know, it's not Daniel West photography wedding. It's not Yes Exclusive Weddings and Events wedding. It is the couple's most intimate day, and they must decide what is best for them. And whoever like we bring to the table, obviously would love to work with, but we don't make the call, like we don't make the choice of who like they should by the end of the day go with. And I think that is also in the way that you need to be transparent towards your suppliers, but also towards your.
And it's not all about money and the price and whatsoever. I think what we experience not sometimes, very often, it is the connection between you and the client. You can be maybe more expensive than someone else, but if the connection fits, then you will be the one that actually gets the job. Because this is like all of us is acting. You know, I go to someone that I personally like, and then I say, okay, maybe he's a bit more expensive. Okay, can I afford it? Yes, I will make it. I will make it work. You know, I think this is more like important than anything else.
Exactly, yeah. And I mean, it's pieces of puzzle in the end. Cheesy. But For example, there were many weddings that I've done where the suppliers doesn't really gel with each other, but in the end of the day, it was the bride and groom's choice to have them for that specific. And the product that you need to give as a supplier in the end should be your best work for that particular wedding, for that budget, obviously. I mean, you can't give all the
Getting away from the weddings, maybe can people book you now, maybe during this time, also for product shoots?
Absolutely, yeah. We do have a level 4 clearance for what do you call it, essential supplier, where we can photograph any products that we have. Luckily, with level 3, it opens up a wider range for it, so we can start shooting at venues, small style shoots, couple shoots. But I think the max of people that we can do there is 50 at this stage. I'm not sure if the legislation has cleared yet, but it is an absolutely necessity to get products out there, because I mean the market is already very saturated. So if you have professional photo of that, or even video, you stand a little bit different from it, because it's once again a saturated market. Everybody's selling face masks. So do something different, get yourself out
there. I think also right now, I mean, it might sound like weird in a way, but I think right now is actually a good time for marketing, or at least for putting your ducks in the row already, to like have the content that you may need in 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks time, and maybe even for the one thing or the other, you might even get like a good bargain, in a way that a lot of people are much more willing to negotiate prices at this stage. But I think right now, like the time that has been placed in our hand, like can be used very well for a lot of industries. I mean, I'm not just talking about the wedding or even the flower industries. I mean, specifically, as you mentioned, even like maybe hotels or guest houses. Now you have empty rooms, you really fully have like empty, like you can show like from the entrance to the restaurants to wherever maybe you need to go, and you have the time to not clear the way or make people like go away. For a lot of those things, I think that it is the right time, if you have like the budget obviously available, but to go out and have those shoots and this content actually for brochures, for even online social media content, obviously like videos and everything. But I think right now for a lot of people, it can be like worthwhile.
Don't have my ducks in a row. I know, Lisa. I mean, what better time is there that has been given to us, that the world is on standstill, so to say. It's literally a time to reset. It's time to reset the not the humanity, but I mean, the world has given us an opportunity to actually stop, think about what we want to do, and get our ducks in a row. Or the squirrels.
Squirrels.
But be ready when that influx of opportunity is going to come your way, because I mean, this is the time that many families are actually spending time with each other that hasn't had the time to do it, or alternatively, spending a lot of time with each other. I mean, I hate to say this, but imagine how many divorces we might have because of people actually spending a lot of time. But that gives us the opportunity later on to have 2 weddings again. You catch my drift, and that it's a little bit different.
we got you. I mean, we even had a very sad experience the other day. We would have had a wedding on the 4th of April, and that was a mixed couple, South African and a foreign lady, and they got stuck here both during lockdown, and maybe lockdown has put so much pressure on them. They were, during the whole lockdown, they were busy to organize whenever they can get just married, the signature, to get married and then to leave for a new job that both actually got offered. And just on the weekend, this wedding will never gonna take place anymore, because they called it off. So it was maybe too much stress on people. I think
and you don't even have to be married. Like you don't have to be married yet. I mean, it puts a lot of pressure on people, I mean, generally. And I think this is a really big test for a lot of relationships out there, because you cannot go out, you cannot leave the house.
Yeah.
I mean, you cannot, you know, you don't have your separate lives in the sense that you do your jobs like separately. You have to like do your home, how you call this, like home office. Like the one has a Zoom call here, the other one needs to schedule it right after it's finished. Not everyone has big houses and homes, you know, where you can be on the left wing and on the right wing of the house. But you have to like make sure that you work together and still like share a lot. So I think it's putting a lot of relationships at test right now.
What have you actually done like during lockdown, beside maybe making your baby ready, or your cooking or helping your wife, or bringing her coffee on the bed or something like that? I can imagine this. Like
this is what Leonardo DiCaprio does.
Yeah, it's been quite interesting. I mean, in the beginning, you've got that heart attack of, okay, listen, we really need to move. We'll need to think outside the box. Maybe get another industry to back it up and everything. It's been quite a roller coaster ride. Sometimes you're very positive, the next day you're very negative. So it's been rough in that sense. But you really need to stick to a plan. And I think once you get the plan going, you can start planning for it, because I mean, we are going to get an influx of work from January or whenever the weddings are open.
Oh yes, we do.
Yes.
And this is also what I'm saying. This is not the end of the world. The world just stopped for a moment, and we have to bridge this time.
Absolutely. So I think in terms of that, the we've done a lot of homework, working around the house and everything. For myself personally,
because you got a new house, right? That
Yeah.
is also something very unique.
Where's time to buy a house, by the way? But no, it's been really, really good. I've used a lot of time to actually, the time that I get actually, because little Daniel doesn't sleep much. So the time that I have, I've really stuck to editing old work, seeing if I can get that a little bit more better. I've worked on my portfolio that's going up live, hopefully in the next week or so. And then obviously working on my brand and getting ready for next year, because I mean, there's definitely going to be an influx. I've actually gotten a studio up and running as well, a different away from Daniel West, to be able to do that, the influx and everything. So really need to be prepared and get prepared for what's coming.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome. It's really, to be honest with you, and I can't wait.
And I think also, you know, I think it's inspiring also for people who look up to you as a photographer, that you may also say, you know, it's not just easy, you know, it's not just easy. And like,
we all have our good days and bad days.
That we all have sort of waves like to tackle this. And I think no one really has like the answers to how is the best to overcome this. I think it's very individual, and like people take it like very differently, like personally. But I also think that it's nice to see that someone like you also says, you know what, it's not just pink clouds, and it's not just like easy. I think that is also something that I want people to be realistic and real. I mean, we know also from next year things will change, but also for a lot of people from now, let's say from
there's
June
6 months to go
until January, it's 6 months. So it is tough for a lot of out there, and there will be a lot that will make it, and most probably there will unfortunately be some that will fall through the grid. But that's why I also think generally is a good time to brush up on your skills. So tell people, if they wanted to be in touch, maybe to learn from you, where could they find more information about whatever you're offering or your contact details?
Absolutely, yeah, we really need to prepare for what's coming. So that's awesome. They can get in contact with me through my website. It's danielwest.photo, PHOTO. On there is a link that says for photographers, which then drops down to mentorships. And there's a little bit of information. Obviously, I'm running a discounted price on all of them because we can't do the full length of it. But there are options for that. And if there's something specific that they would like, they can just fill out the contact form, and then I'll get back to them as soon as possible, obviously. But yeah, we cater for vast from entry level to professional. It's really depending on what they do, and even just the enthusiasts just wanting to learn the camera. I can help with that as well. That's going to be honest. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Ellie
Yes.
says,
I
yeah,
mean,
it's
also
very
thank you for your
encouraging.
honesty.
Yeah, thank
Honesty.
you.
I think this is important, and I think this is hopefully for people who are listening to this platform, that we really want to keep it real and raw. I mean, we all know that generally the wedding industry and also everything about flowers is pretty, you know, and I mean, specifically also your job is like bringing the best pictures out and showing like the most glamorous things that they are. But we also want to show the people behind the brands. And specifically now, I think it's important to speak to people, you know, and to just listen to who they are, what they have been going through, and how they reached where they are. Because most of the time, we don't have the time, like pre-COVID, to even like have this chat, you know, like to even say, hey Daniel, how are you doing? How is your little one? Is it sleeping, not sleeping, teething, or just a normal thing? And I hope also that this teaches us to be much more human and empathetic with other people, and I think that is also something that's been much needed across industries, you know. So not only in the wedding industry, it's just be much more like kind to people, and also
Yeah.
see who they are, and what they are doing and how they're struggling. And I think in any situation, you can only see like in front of the face, but we're all struggling in one way or the other, you know. The one is struggling with sleep, the other one with finance, the other one with whatever it is. And I think this is
Personal
just something,
relationships. Yeah.
something that is very, very human. So thank you very much for sharing this with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a roller coaster for everybody, and it's actually a perfect time, as you mentioned, to build those relationships with old friends or even new suppliers. Get in touch with them. Get to know them a little bit more on a personal side, because it's definitely going to work through a little bit later. Probably not this year, maybe not, but next year definitely. So yeah,
Yeah.
thank
Yeah.
you. Yes, it's been a pleasure.
It was such a pleasure, like having you here, and I was very happy when we approached you and you said yes, you want to chat with us, because I think it is very important to have also, like in our industry, uh, a, a wider understanding for like each and everybody's market, whether it's a photographer or a DJ or a wedding planner, a florist. We have such a wide range of people that we actually have in our industry. And I think a lot of, even, I mean, we do this in the most of the cases for our industry, but what we've seen already, there's a lot of like ordinary people already watching our chats, because they feel like that's inspiring for their industry, for their life, for even couples. They watched actually the other day. I got to know a show, a live presentation of a florist from Hong Kong, you know, and I said like, wow, this is so amazing. We never thought that could be something we could imagine for a bridal bouquet, because it was very unique. And I think then when we reach this goal to get to people and to get them inspired, or to get just new understanding of our people in our industry, I think then, yeah,
We have reached our goal.
we have reached our goal.
So thank you so much, Daniel. It was lovely speaking to you, and I hope we're gonna have an amazing wedding soon, next year at least. So thank you so much. All the best to your wife, to your little one. I wish you more sleep. If that helps you to overcome the next days. My mom can just tell you it gets better with time.
Yeah, definitely. You know, like I mean, that's maybe nothing for here, but also maybe them moms and dads out. like Alfie was a very bad sleeper, and I was so exhausted, and I was alone, and I tried always to ask like other people, like, how long does it take, you know? When she was newborn, they said to me like 6 weeks, and I said, okay, I can cope with another 4 weeks, you know. So then 6 weeks were over, then nothing changed. So then said, oh, maybe 6 months, you know. Like, okay, I said, okay, I get another 5 months. But it took actually about 6 years until she was sleeping in her own bed and not coming every night to us. But I tried to enjoy this, and I must be very honest, I really enjoyed it when at night she lifted actually the blanket and she came tip 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 into my bed. And
But I can still tell you, after 6 years, it will change.
so yeah, I just don't want to make you hopeless.
No. I think there's a lot of time, but we're looking forward to it, and we're treasuring every moment now. I mean, we're gonna miss it once it's gone. So yeah, it's it's part of life.
Take as it is and just enjoy it.
Yes, enjoy it. The most important thing is that you all stay healthy.
Yeah.
And I hope you're going to get some inquiries also for your commercial work, because if that's something that you can like start doing right now, that at least some like light at the end of the tunnel, and then for next year, hopefully weddings very soon.
Absolutely. I've got a lot of style suits that I'm processing, so we're definitely going to talk. But thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. It was an honor
You
to
know
be
my
on.
number.
Thank you very
Okay.
much. Stay safe and keep well. Bye-bye.
Bye.